This is the second battle in round 4 of the blue tournament. Diplomatt versus Iraklis. Iraklis commanding Galatia and Diplomatt commanding Iceni. Now this is a matchup where Galatia should have the advantage, both in terms of infantry and skirmishers and cavalry. But it's the Battle of Zeus at Olympia, and again, this is a very peculiar map. There's a lot of forest and a lot of uneven, it's a huge slope on this side. There's also this massive building, which constricts the space of the battle significantly. Like, there aren't many viable ways to engage on this battlefield. It's basically going to be, if you don't want to contend with terrain disadvantages, it's basically going to be in this area here, and it's a very small area, so it's a map that is very rush friendly, not very skirmish friendly at all. I don't know which of the players picked this map. For Diplomatt, we have one veteran rider, 3 Briton slingers. Then we have, I believe, 3 heroic nobles and 5 chosen swords. Heroic nobles, general with he's a strategist. Then we have a bunch of levy freemen. 2 chosen spears on each flank, I believe. Yeah, and that's it. Now, it would probably be a good idea for Iraklis to move up and then back down here, because his skirmishing advantage is going to be nullified by the forest, and his cavalry advantage is going to be nullified by the forest as well. One of the strengths of Galatia is the skirmish cavalry and the Cappadocians, but they are sort of nullified by the terrain here. So the infantry advantage decisively goes in Diplomat's favor. Some naked swords here for Iraklis. They might do quite a bit of work, but they are not as good as the mercenary naked swords of Pontus, because they are more expensive. The Creative Assembly still hasn't fixed the price of mercenary naked swords. Iraklis moving up. One good thing about this is that he doesn't have to worry about cavalry coming in and knocking down his naked swords before they can engage, which is good for him, of course. Iceni just camping in the forest here. Now, I would have liked to see Iraklis move up and then down. Here we have the mercenary Cappadocians. Not a good time for frontal engagement due to the mass of the several lines of infantry deployed by Diplomatt. Mercenary Syrians rushing forward, but then pulling back. The Breton slingers are firing now, and they are... But the charges... No, the levy freemen just fired, they didn't charge. Heroic nobles rushing in. No units trying to block the charges of the heroic nobles, which is a super questionable decision by Iraklis. He really needs to block charges with his Galatian legionaries. Now, the heroic nobles are losing decisively for some reason, probably because they ate a lot of javelins. All across the line, chosen swords should lose to Galatian legionaries. Chosen swords are not bad, but they're not as good as Galatian legionaries. But I do like what, and now the heroic nobles are doing well. what I do like about what Diplomatt has done here is that with this map, cavalry is going to be less effective and skirmishers are going to be less effective. So he's gone for straight up infantry spam with a few skirmishers in support, and that can be very difficult to deal with on a map like this. Iraklis content to keep his levy freemen in second line as support. Here the naked swords are getting attacked by cavalry, the veteran riders. They are attacked in the rear though. Here we have chosen spears. They're going to wreck the naked swords on the charge. The general of Diplomatt moving around the flanks, only levy freemen to stop him. Iraklis is focus firing here with heavy shot on the general, on the Iceni general, but it's very even now. But the very important Syrian archers are losing because they haven't been firing on the Briton slingers, and the Briton slingers are having a field day now. The noble horse general probably going to try to take care of these levy freemen, but over here the naked swords are not doing well at all against the chosen spears and the cycle charging veteran riders. Getting some nice kills in the center here, but it's only a matter of time before Diplomatt is going to win on both flanks and then be able to do what he's doing now, push back the forces of Iraklis. Iraklis was severely outmatched in terms of infantry here. Iraklis banked on his skirmishers and on his cavalry, and the Galatian build he brought is a strong build. It's a good Galatia build, but on this map it's going to be far less effective than it would be on an open map, where on this map skirmishing is going to be less effective and the enemy infantry is going to be protected from cavalry by just being in the forest. So all across the line here we have chosen swords losing to legionaries. Heroic nobles are doing well against the Galatian legionaries. Here some chosen swords are getting ganged up on. The heroic nobles are getting fired on in the rear. Nicely done here with the mercenary horse skirmishers and getting into the Briton slingers to stop them from firing. The heroic nobles are taking a lot of damage, getting shot in the rear. Now if Iraklis can make great use of his cavalry, this is still possible if he's able to take care of these heroic nobles. However, he is not turning around his levy freemen and his Galatian legionaries to attack this heroic noble. He is, however, charging the heroic noble downhill with these Galatian legionaries, which could be massive, but he really needs to start fighting with these guys. I mean, there's been a lot of miss-micro from Iraklis, both in this battle and in the previous battle. And he cannot afford it when he needs to get his kills with skirmishers and cavalry. And still no response from these levy freemen and these Galatian legionaries, and that is a game-costing mistake right there. The mercenary Cappadocians should be able to take care of the Briton slingers now. The chosen spears activating, let's see, shield screen. But this general for Iceni really needs to die. He's taking so long to die because these units didn't get attack orders on him. And the Diplomatt being able to use his infantry advantage to screen away the skirmishers of Iraklis. I'll just fast forward here because we have a lot of game time remaining. Levy freemen getting charged downhill and destroyed. All of the infantry of Galatia just being routed off the field by Iceni. And I mean one of the peculiar things about the rules of this tournament is that it enforced a max 8 of the same unit type, so max 8 melee infantry, for example. And that makes a unit like Iceni more viable against Galatia, because Iceni can then bring heroic nobles, while Galatia can only bring 6 very good legionaries, but can only bring 2 low tier swords to go with that. So Iceni can bring 3 elites and 5 mid tiers, while Galatia can only really bring 6 mid tiers. Now the mid tiers of Galatia are going to defeat the mid tiers of Iceni, but they're going to struggle against the heroic nobles. And of course this map, Iraklis has made good use of his cavalry. He's gotten a lot of kills on them, but cavalry and skirmishers are going to be much less effective on this map. And especially he can't take this skirmish engagement with the Syrian archers firing into the forest against the Briton slingers, because the Syrian archers, they're going to lose horribly, and at this point there's so little left for... he had an opening to take care of the general of Diplomatt. The general was surrounded, but he didn't give the attack orders he needed to finish off the general. So very important point in the battle, but Iraklis wasn't able to micro well enough there to take advantage of it. Frontal charge by the mercenary Cappadocians, trying to get in and get at the slingers. Charge incoming by the noble horse, and amazingly enough, both cavalry units made it out. He still has cavalry, he still has skirmishers. It's just a question of how much ammunition he has left. If he can snipe the heroic noble general of Iceni and get into the skirmishers, then it's not entirely impossible for Iraklis now, but it is going to be super difficult. Still slingers on the field for Diplomatt. Still very dangerous Levy Freeman and Chosen Spears. Chosen Spears with 208 kills. Chosen Spears are very good spear units. One of the better spear units due to their armor, their health, and their very good melee defense. Now these heroic nobles are wavering because of the casualties they have sustained. So maybe giving these guys a volley would be a decent idea. Or a rear charge, but so many spears left for Diplomatt. The heroic noble general is a few volleys away from getting destroyed, but so is the general of Iraklis. And here we go. Lot of wavering going on by on Iceni's side due to casualties sustained, and if he has enough ammunition now, he could destroy the general of Iceni. Syrians charging in. They are probably out of ammunition. Yeah. If that general had died at an earlier point, oh, this would have been... It's so close, super close. Iraklis doing very well in the late game here with his Cappadocians, but a costly victory for Iceni. Super close battle. It basically came down to Iraklis not being able to deal with the heroic nobles effectively enough and just being outmatched in terms of infantry. He was, however, able to do an amazing job with his cavalry. It just wasn't enough. And I really think that if that general had gotten, if the Galatian legionaries had gotten their attack orders on the general, then GG. But naked swords, I don't like the use of naked swords. I would much rather, on this map, I would much rather have liked to see Galatian swords. And the skirmishers were able to do fairly well. The horse skirmishers, a nice choice, but I think Diplomatt made the right decision in just spamming infantry. So this is a situation where you have three elite swords, 5 mid-tiers against 6 mid-tiers, 2 sort of, well, they are low to mid-tier naked swords, and then 2 mid-tier spears and 5 low-tier spears against 5 low-tier spears. So Iraklis being outmatched here in terms of infantry. We had, let's see, 15 infantry units on the field for Iceni, 3 of them elite. And then we had 13 infantry units on the field for Galatia, none of them elite. So that is a substantial difference. But congratulations to Diplomatt. He's going to advance to the next round of the finals. I think this series, the maps on this series played a massive role in how the battles went. In the first battle, Diplomatt had a decisive advantage on Bukhara in terms of being on the hill. And in the second battle, he He picked a very smart build for the map. He knew that his cavalry was going to be outmatched by the cavalry of Galatia, and he banked on spamming infantry for victory. And that was a smart choice on this map, because the skirmishers of Galatia would be not entirely neutralized, but a lot less effective. And although Iraklis was able to do very well with his cavalry, the cavalry advantage that Galatia otherwise would have is sort of neutralized. So Galatia, with standard rules, Galatia is a much stronger faction than Iceni, but on certain maps and under these rules, Iceni can be very strong against Galatia because Galatia has no elite swords. Strength and honor.